Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's Women's Growth Series. I am so excited, first because I have not been back here in WMN for a Women's Growth Series at all this year so far. So this is going to be really fun. We have two amazing brokers that are going to be joining us today, talking about different sales strategies and scalability in today's world, how to do it quickly, how to do it efficiently, and how things have changed over the last 10 years with the mortgage industry in general, and specifically the broker channel, and trying to run a sales team amidst all of the chaos that everyone is experiencing right now. So with me, we have first Jamie Cavanaugh. Welcome back, Jamie. We've seen you a ton this year. We're so excited to have you today. Jamie is the COO and partner of Amerifund Home Loans out there in California. Jamie, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We also have Tom Mancuso. So we've got a lovely gentleman joining us today for this conversation as well. Tom is the branch manager of the Nexa Arrowhead branch with Nexa Mortgage out in Arizona. Tom, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Super excited.
We don't often get men in the Women's Growth Series, so this is very exciting for us to have somebody different joining us this week. We're pumped.
I'm definitely happy to be here.
So we're going to jump right in. We've talked a lot about just not only how much change has happened over the last 10 years, but the last 12 months, right? I mean, we've seen so much change just since this time last year. I got a pop-up on Facebook that said, it was really within the last week that we were all at Activate in California, the very last event that we were able to have before everything shut down. And it's wild to think that that was a year ago. So Jamie, I want to kick it to you first. What have you done with your sales team to be able to transition from what was a relatively stable environment that we were all walking into in 2020 to what last year actually turned into and where we're at today?
Gosh, that's a great question. And it's so nuts because I remember being there, and actually relative to WMN, that was also our first big gathering there, which was such a special day and such an amazing kickoff for this group, which has also grown exponentially since that time. I remember that things were just starting to hit right around there, and that loans were going crazy. And I remember walking around the Activate event on the phone, dealing with stuff back at the office and locks and all kinds of stuff. I don't think we could have ever imagined what things were going to look like even a couple of weeks from then. And it's such a dichotomy in our industry because we went from watching other people in other industries dealing with catastrophic losses of jobs and businesses and health issues to an industry like ours, which began to thrive and began to get inundated. And, shortly thereafter, we had lenders that even staffing up ahead of volume couldn't staff up enough. And those of us who are, broker owners, we wound up in similar situations to perhaps a smaller degree. And so for me, I just took the bull by the horns and started hiring as fast as I could, as best I could. And one of the ways that I was able to do that, because remember, you're dealing with an environment where everybody's in demand, right? And we talk about this all the time. It's like, everybody who's experienced in this industry is now out there in demand. Nobody wants to leave because they're being incentivized to stay. And those that are being recruited are being wined and dined and wooed with the most money they have ever seen in their lives. It's not very easy to go out there and get tenured, seasoned people in operations or sales. So what do? Well, you grow them from home. That's what you do. So took some good advice from Anthony, from Renee Rodriguez, from lots of people that I had been paying attention to and listening to leading up to this. And I started hiring people that had no experience. And I started hiring them then and teaching them the basics and getting them up to speed so that in months' time, they were able to begin to support us in little ways and then bigger ways. And today I'm at 5 inside salespeople that handle the database and our book of business, and have continued to and have really started to push this year for the recruitment of outside salespeople. It's the only way to do it. And then conversely, as sales has scaled, operations has had to scale with that. And I've also done things like hire people that are not tenured seniors, but maybe are somewhere in the middle, and give them a training plan, something to shoot for, something to work toward. And it has worked very well for us. We've certainly had the same pains others have had, but we're very fortunate, and we've been able to make it work, and we've been able to sustain through this.
So how many people did you have at the beginning of last year, and how many people do you have today?
So I had one full-time in-house loan officer, got 5 now. I had 2.5 processors because my receptionist doubled as one. I've got 7, I believe. Now I'm losing count because I just brought one on yesterday. Yeah. And then we're at 4 or 5 outside LOs and some conversations with some others. So it's definitely for a small company like me. I mean, those are.
Oh no, those are cute. I mean, we're not talking about just doubling. You're quadrupling in size in a 12-month period. That's no matter what size the business is. That's a lot. That's a lot of growth and a lot to take on in a very short period of time.
It's a lot
Tom,
of
yeah, great. Tom, you are relatively new to the broker channel, right? You're a couple of years in now. What was it like, not just only dealing with the transition to the channel, like getting stood up as a broker, but then also trying to build a team and build a branch in the middle of 2020? Because you hired and brought on a handful of people last year as well, right?
Yeah, and so I actually took a different approach at first than Jamie, but ended up along the same track as Jamie. I really, obviously, we want to grow the broker channel. Obviously, the easiest way to do that is there's a lot of retail loan officers that are unhappy. They're not in a good situation. You know, everyone like Jamie said, you said, Katie, everyone's busy. If the market's going crazy, and so initially I was hiring a little bit of experience with your retail LO, trying to transition them to the broker world. And the transition was difficult because they're coming from, a lot of them, from call centers, or a lot of them where their leads are flowing in like crazy. They don't even know what to do with them. And to bringing them into a broker world, well, my branch, we do provide leads. It's not on a scale of some of these call centers. And so I don't want to fully go to like a call center model. I want to still teach them to self-generate their own business while being able to feed their families. But I was really having a hard time transitioning some of these people from, what they're expecting in a retail setup or a call center setup to a broker mindset. They were too focused on the very next paycheck or lack of paycheck than they were about their long game. We always talk about this, Anthony, Ishbia, like a lot of people in this industry talk about prepare for the future. Don't prepare for where you are now. We talk about growing our teams because we know the market's crazy, but we want to invest that. We want to focus on our future business. And a lot of these loan officers just were having a hard time. They're just conditioned not to do that. They're conditioned to look at what's right in front of them. And so I took a step back and I figured, look, I'm walking proof. You can teach someone mortgages. I'm less than 2 years in this business. But what I can't teach is someone's passion. I can't teach someone's work ethic. I can't teach the actual person themselves. I can teach anyone mortgages. I need to hire not for the resume. I need to hire for the person. I need to hire for the right qualities. I want to hire someone who's humble and who's hungry. I want to hire someone that understands you're walking into this, you don't know everything. Even if you've done mortgages before, like Jamie said, guess what? March last year, everything changed. And for me, I was like, okay, now everybody's like me. Everybody's dealing with all brand new stuff because it's really new to me. And even really experienced loan officers and broker owners that have been doing this for 30 years, they were dealing with all the guideline changes that I was. And okay, so now I need to look at those motivating factors. I need to look at those qualities, those personal qualities. I need to look for the person, not the resume. And so that was a big transition for us. And actually, Nexa as a company even started looking at, okay, yeah, we still want to recruit retail loan officers, but we're getting inundated. And even like in AIME and Brokers Are Better, there's a lot of new people to the industry, completely new, that want to get involved as a broker. They don't want to do the whole, oh, just go to retail and you'll learn everything there and you get paid 25 basis points, but you're going to learn. And there's a lot of support staff. Well, that works for some people, but that's not the only way to do things. Just like you don't have to be like a Todd Bitter and only do purchases or only do good credit. Everyone has their own system and their own customers they like to market to and do business their own way. That's what makes a broker amazing, because we can all have amazing careers like that. We don't have to be all cookie cutter. So for us to just think, oh, well, you have to go and sow your oats and beat your head against the wall in retail and learn that way, it shouldn't be like that. So even Nexa, opened up a mentor program to start helping new loan officers completely new to the industry. And we want to teach them to be a broker from the very beginning, teach them the right way to do things, not teach them the wrong way, have them realize it and hate it and then want to do things the right way. No, we don't have to do that. We should teach them the right way from the very beginning. So the biggest thing for me was getting off of the resume, getting off of the years of experience. And who am I with less than 2 years experience in mortgages to judge someone based on their resume? If I can do it, I mean, obviously I think I'm good, but someone else can do it. I'm good because of my community, because of the people that I associate with. You become a product of your environment. I'm walking proof of that. And so these new loan officers can do the exact same thing. I saw Jason Frazier post yesterday about, the way to be successful in this industry, being brand new, is invest in your craft. Focus on perfecting your craft. I used to be the person, I hated social media because people were arguing about politics or sports teams or stupid stuff. I would really hate it. And now I find myself like late at night, I'm like reading posts on Brokers Are Better and I'm saving them. And Brendan McKay like showed me how to itemize all these things in different categories. And I'm a total nerd, but you know what? Like it's really helped my knowledge. It really has helped me learn to find answers and resources. And it really has helped fill in that lack of 20 years experience. And so if I can do that, why can't a loan officer do that? Well, in order to get someone who's willing to invest in their craft and make their craft better, they need to be willing, they need to be humble, they need to be hungry to do that. They want to do things the right way. They want to help people the right way. So I really had to change my mindset on that. Like, you know what, just because I did it, I'm not, a total one-off. Other people can do that. And this community has helped me do that. This community can help others do that. So I really wanted to encourage that and stimulate that learning experience as well.
Absolutely. And you've touched on a handful of things there. There's mentorship programs that are available. AIME has a mentorship program as well, like bringing more people into the channel through Spark and Ignite and really helping grow, not just, people in retail right now and trying to help them come over and join the channel, but also people from the community that don't have any industry experience that are just ripe for positions within the broker channel right now, support staff, processing, LOAs, let alone getting into training LOs and bringing them up to speed in that capacity as well. There's tons of opportunity to help expand and handle current capacity, but we have to be creative in how we find all of those people. So, Jamie, I have to ask you, once we find them and we bring them in, right? You guys have both done a lot of recruiting over the last year or so. How do you motivate them day to day, right? Tom's talking a lot about personality and it's got to be the right culture fit and you've got to be hungry and motivated. But what do you do as a leader that helps people stay motivated and helps drive them to continue to be successful, specifically within those sales roles?
I actually created sales metrics and I broke down what I felt to be the key business building activities that needed to happen every day. And I set goals for each of them to accomplish. So this involves, reaching out to referral partners. In our cases, we have referrals that come in from CPAs, financial planners, real estate agents, and so forth. We also obviously have our database, which is massive and needs constant nurturing. So we carve out a portion of the day to do that. Obviously, we care about how many pre-approvals we're issuing and or how many refinances we're locking, because those are the end result of those business building activities that we're doing. And all of those prospecting activities are seeds that we're planting. So what we do is every morning we sit in that conference room together at 9 o'clock and we talk about what we accomplished the day before and what we have to accomplish that day. And we celebrate who won. Let's somebody tell a story about a realtor they called that we haven't talked to in years, engaged with them and wanted to send us a lead and sent us one and we got it pre-approved, or a client that it took them 2 months of being consistent and never stopping that follow-up, because my philosophy with our past clients is never stop talking until they tell you not to. Keep that drip follow-up going on a constant basis. And the person that reached out after 2 months and said, hey, I know you've been leaving me messages and I appreciate it, I'm ready. We do that every single day. And that connection between all of us, whether it's Zoom for those who are remote or in person for those who are here, it motivates everybody. It keeps the the feeling positive one, and it sends everybody out to attack their day in a way that is, I think, very positive and very, very good for all of us.
Yeah, I would love to see. I want to get a screenshot of the types of things that you're reporting off of and how you're chatting about them and displaying them to your team, because metrics can be really, I'm a data nerd, so I'm the wrong person to say this. And everybody on the AIME team will tell you I'm an absolute like analytics junkie. I live in statistics all day, every day, and not talk to a person and be completely content. But not everybody's like that. A lot of people ingesting data and understanding numbers and metrics, it's not the relationship side. It's a result of those relationships, but it is a different skill. It's a different type of information to absorb. So I would love to, once we're done, we'll have to get a screenshot of what you're doing so that we can share it with the rest of the team and get some ideas on how to communicate those things out to where it's not, you're not being reprimanded, but it thrives that or drives that competition and that motivation to like, I did this yesterday, now I'm going to go beat it today.
Absolutely. And you know what's interesting is you find that you don't have to give negative reinforcement when the natural competitive nature of human beings, particularly those that have the kind of drive and hunger that Tom mentioned, those hungry people with that character where they're humble but hungry, those are the exact personality types that come in the door, and you give everybody the same template and you make them all report their findings together in a group setting, and it inherently makes them raise the bar. It's just, it's like that big, hairy, audacious goals thing. It's, if you reach for the star, you may not catch the star, but you're going to go a lot higher than you would have gone if you'd set the bar super, super low.
Absolutely. That's how I feel during like spin class, right? You don't want to be the last person on the leaderboard. Like there's 15 people in the class, like you just can't be number 15, right? It naturally drives that, like you said, that competitive nature comes out of people. You want to do more, do better, be better each and every day. Tom, you strike me as a relatively competitive guy. I think, what are you doing in your branch, or how are you motivating your team, kind of in line with what Jamie's talking about?
So to give an awesome contrast to Jamie's business model and Jamie's business in general, and exactly what she just said. So I came to this business less than 2 years ago with zero database. I had done finance for a while before, but I took like a 10-year break because of a personal accident that I was in. I worked a lot with the nonprofit community and worked with people with disabilities, and where I couldn't share anything about my patients on social media or in public. Now I'm like the opposite. Now I have to go back into know what my circle of influence, make sure they all know what I'm doing, and start, marketing and things like that. So I have zero database. So now what do I need to focus on in this database? Well, I need to remember everyone is a potential referral partner. Everyone, anyone and everyone you meet anywhere is a potential referral partner. And what Jamie talks about, with those referral partners or those people, what are some things that I can control? Well, number one, I can just dazzle them with their treatment, their service, and my communication. Those are things that I can control. And the bottom line is, no matter how someone is a great experienced broker owner doing this for 30 years, there still are other entities involved in this transaction that we can't control. Sure, we can choose the lender and we can choose a partner that we can work with and we can communicate with. But ultimately, we've got title companies, we've got other agents, we've got the seller, we've got their mortgage company. So what can control? Well, we can control our communication. We can control the relationships that we give to our referral partners and our consumers. And we can do everything possible in our power to just dazzle them with that relationship and that communication, to then obviously build that next step, building that database, building those referral partners, making sure that I do everything possible to win them over as a lifetime consumer, not just the next paycheck, not just my next commission check. I'm not focused just on that. I'm focused on the long term. I'm focused on how can I turn this one customer. And when I started buying leads. Okay, great. Well, everybody gave me a hard time. Oh, you buy leads. I'm referral only. Cool. You've been doing this for 20 years. I just don't have that. And
Yep.
so, but I want to take that lead, that one lead, and how can I multiply that and turn that into multiple loans, multiple referrals? Every transaction, Todd Bitter taught me, Melanie Wahlberg taught me, there's 2 agents in every transaction. There's a title company in every transaction. Todd Bitter told me a lot of his realtor relationships he built from title companies because they're on the front lines of every transaction. They know when things go good and when things go bad. They've got a realtor in their ear. They can say, hey, you know who I don't have this problem with? It's Tom Mancuso at Nexa. He answers his phone every time. Melanie Wahlberg. Melanie Wahlberg has an amazing business, but now she wants to grow bigger. She's a broker owner, self-processes everything. Now Melanie wants to expand her business. So now all of a sudden, someone who's literally, we call her the unicorn of what she does in this business as a broker owner. Now she's venturing into new things, growing her team, growing her business. So all of those things, the same principles that Jamie takes, even though she's nurturing and growing her database, I have no database. So now I need to focus on that individual customer even more. When I was in the automobile business, I used to train salespeople. Love the one you're with. Don't look on the car lot and see, oh, all those cars driving by, those are all, maybe they got better credit, or maybe they got more down payment. Maybe they want to buy a Corvette and this guy wants to buy, a Toyota Camry. I want to get that customer. No, love the one you're with. So focus on that consumer that you have. Make sure you're everything you need to be to that consumer. Make sure you answer all the questions for that consumer. Make sure you go above and beyond. I talk a lot about we don't need to be the computer system encyclopedia for mortgages. Don't get me wrong. I want to know answers to questions. I feel stupid if somebody asks me something and I don't know the answer. I'm not going to lie to them. I'm going to be honest with them, especially like we talked last year in March. A lot of our guidelines changed and got flipped upside down. We're brokers. We have multiple lenders. A lot of our lenders have different guidelines, different overlays. Just explain that to the customer. Don't say, I just don't know. Be honest with them. If we explain those things to the consumer and we make it clear that we're going to find the correct answer for them, and not just consumers, our referral partners. If a listing agent calls me and says, hey, this property that I'm about ready to contract for your customer on, it says it's a modular home. Is that treated like a manufactured home? You know what? I think some of my lenders it is. Let me call and just make sure. Let me just double check. I don't want to tell you something I don't know, because then you're going to get your seller's hopes up. I'm going to get my buyer's hopes up. And ultimately, me taking 20 minutes just to find out for you can make a big difference.
Yep.
And ultimately, I've had so much good feedback from referral partners that literally probably would never have thought to do business with me. But because I took that approach and I was honest with them and I showed them, look, let me just do a little bit of legwork. I want to get this right. This is not just about dollars and cents. And to hear a mortgage person say this is not about dollars and cents, it's about people. Hopefully that agent is one of those agents that also feels the same way. And that's why they're trying to do a little bit of legwork. They don't want to get their hopes up like that. And so just taking a little bit of an extra step, putting in a little bit more work, like Jamie said, focusing on building those relationships and keeping those relationships strong. That's what this business is all about. This is a people business. We really need to make that human connection with people. So yeah, just really focusing on referral partners. We're focusing on growing that database, focusing on where I spend my time, what lenders I use, because those lenders teach me also. I can really good referral partners. I mean, I have them where I can contact them, ask them questions, get their information. They give me a completely different way of looking at it than a broker owner or a loan officer who might just be focused on their next check. Those are people I want in my database, in my community, in my referral partners.
Yeah, y'all both touched on so many things that we try to infuse into the content in AIME every day, right? The things that are the most important: treating people well, focusing on the relationship, not an individual transaction, providing an experience that's unparalleled, not just to the consumer, but to everybody that's involved in that specific exchange, right? Agents and title reps and, across the board, there's more than one customer every single time. To your point, Tom, every time there's a transaction that takes place, there's infinitely more than a single consumer that you need to be catering to and providing an experience that is unmatched and something they haven't experienced from other LOs, right? Usually other LOs on the retail side. So I do have to ask both of y'all before we wrap, because we have a couple of minutes left. If you were going to give advice to, and you could answer from either side, whether you're giving advice to a broker owner that's trying to lead a sales team or to an LO that's trying to be successful in a sales role, one thing that you could tell them to focus on, to take and implement today, like they can finish watching this. We've got women who are watching this right now. They can turn this off and go and do this that's going to make an impact on their business right away. What would that thing be? Tom, I'm going to start with you.
Probably a couple of different parts. The first part is lean on your community. This is our community. We recently celebrated over 10,000 members of Brokers Are Better. And I know that is a wonderful accomplishment, but I expect that to be doubled by this time next year. And I say that because there's so many people out there that are willing to help others. And the Women's Mortgage Network is an even better community of like-minded individuals. And I'll get to that in a second, but leaning on your community, sometimes even at very big companies, Jamie has a larger company, Next is a huge company, we kind of still feel like we can be island, like off on a deserted island somewhere. And that's a very lonely feeling. And especially when we're just trying to do the right thing for the consumer, that's not a really good place to be. And so leveraging your community, reaching out to others for help. I really have to say there's so many people in this mortgage business, in the broker community, I've never met face to face that have helped me time and time again, that literally will take a phone call or a text message or Facebook message from me anytime and drop almost everything to help me. And I'm very shocked with that. And then more times than not, those broker owners, those loan officers are women. And what I tell my team is, when they deal with challenges, when they deal with personal challenges, I tell them, look, don't be ashamed, don't be sad, don't try and avoid telling me about your challenges. I want my team to be filled with people that have dealt with the worst struggles in life, that have dealt with challenges. I want warriors. I don't want people that have had a silver spoon in their mouth. And that's something that I've learned most from the members of the women's mortgage community. Those people share their stories, their challenges. They share what it's like in this business and in life, and the challenges and the struggles they've gone through, and how they've overcome those things. Those are the people that I want to learn from, because I've dealt with things also. My personal life, I know I'm a man, I don't experience a lot of the same challenges, but my challenges might be on a different channel. They're still the same, type of movie. And so ultimately, those are the people that I've learned the most from. So for the Women's Mortgage Network, not only is your community important, but making sure everyone understands what you have been through and those challenges. Because ultimately, if we're going to shift this community and we're going to shift and keep growing and keep bettering ourselves, retail's not going anywhere. Retail is a complete machine built to end the broker community. We need to be together. We need to share our challenges. We need to share how we've overcome those challenges. Doesn't mean we need to all copy those things. A lot of the broker owners or loan officers that I've referenced on here, I do business completely different than them. Todd Bitter self-processes all his loans. So does Melanie Wahlberg. I want nothing to do with that. However, I've learned from them, and like Melanie Wahlberg, like I said, someone's amazingly successful in this industry, but she was nervous about growing her
Mhm.
business. And that really hit me. Like, oh my God, like I thought this woman has nothing to worry about in the world. Like she's doing so much business. She's such an amazing person and she's nervous about something. Like, holy crap. Now I don't feel so bad about myself. Like I'm nervous about growing my team too, maybe for other reasons, but still, knowing those challenges and those struggles is something that's very important. We learn and we grow from that. We grow from those challenges. We grow from things, that the letdowns, the failures, we grow from that. But the more important thing is others can grow from that. Our challenges, our life stories can turn into other people's survival guides. So it's important in changing times. The only thing that's certain is uncertainty. So last year when like the market changed, guess what? You know what? I don't have a lot of experience in mortgages, but I do have a lot of experience in life. And I do know that something's always going to happen. Something's always going to change. What can you do? You can adapt, try to learn from those others who are experiencing the same things in your community. Rely on those friends and family that you have, those people that will be there to help you no matter rain, shine, night or day. Those people are there to help you. We're all in this together. And so ultimately, learning to adapt, learning to rely on my community, but also learning to rely and learn from those people who've experienced struggles, and they've overcome those struggles and those challenges. That's the biggest thing for me. So my advice, to the Women's Mortgage Network is please keep sharing your stories. You're an amazing community. I'm honored to be friends with most of you, and sometimes, you all make me laugh, and I give you guys a hard time, but literally, really appreciate this community for everything that you've helped me with, and I want you to continue, sharing your stories, and I want to continue cheering you guys on. I mean, I love hearing the success stories, that's motivating. Like Jamie talks about, when your colleagues share their success stories, that helps motivate.
Yeah,
It's not just about competition. The fact that everyone's doing better makes me want to do better. I want to
exactly.
better myself.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, you want to talk about, first of all, Tom, you've always been a huge champion of not just women in the industry, but all of the women involved in AIME and WMN. I don't know a fiercer advocate out there for supporting growth and success of all of the women that are a part of our community. So on that front, we need more champions. We need more people that are taking that same thought process and applying it to day to day. So we're very lucky to have quite a few members, honestly, in Brokers Are Better that think exactly the way that you're speaking to right now. Talking about community growth, Brokers Are Better went from 4,000 people at the beginning last year. Like you said, we just hit 10,000 people. We've doubled in size in 12 months. And it's purely based on people starting to understand that there is this community that exists, that people can support one another. The goal is not to tear each other down. It is to create this army of brokers that are available and better suited to serve consumers across the country. That's the best thing for all of us, right? Driving more awareness about the channel and about why we're a better option for consumers and why we can find the best solution for them and how we set ourselves apart. WMN, to Jamie's point, the very first summit that we ever had was at Activate last year. So almost exactly a year ago. It had 40 women. I think our community online at the time had even less people in it than that. We kicked it off in February or March of last year. I think we're about to hit 3,000 people in WMN, which is insane. So to see that and see that growth and see all of those women that are able to come together and have these kinds of conversations and be supportive of each other, that's so motivating on its own. Tom, I think that's a great point. Jamie, what advice would you give? We've talked a lot about community support, really leaning into the resources that are available and learning what you can from engaging with other members and creating this network through AIME and BAB and WMN. But what advice would you give to somebody coming into a sales role or looking to lead a sales team to be successful in the current environment?
Well, everybody knows how much I love AIME because I saw it from every rooftop and every podcast and everything I'm ever on. So everybody knows how much I believe in the community and why I'm always so passionate about it because it didn't exist, 15 or 20 years ago when I was coming up. And more importantly, when it comes to WMN, as I got to hear your story last year, Katie, and I've shared my story with you many times, I am a huge champion for women, and we do need as many advocates as we possibly can have. And Tom is one of those people. I do lots of these things, and they're great, and I love doing them, but it's not often that I actually get to do them with a personal friend. And Tom is a very good personal friend of mine. And so when I hear him talk about how inspired he is, hearing other people's journeys and other people's stories, if you want to hear a story and a journey, that man has a story that will rock your world. And he is one of the people in my life, in my circle, in my tribe, who really raises the bar for me. And sometimes it's brutal honesty that I need to hear, and sometimes it's the joking I need because it's been a really long day and we got to laugh about it. Whatever it is, for me, Tom, you're one of those people. And so just as you talk about how others inspire you, you inspire me to be a better version of myself. And I'm very, very fortunate and grateful to have you in my community, my tribe. And so piggybacking off of that, I would say this. There are two important things that I would say. I would agree with everything that Tom said about the community, but I would also say this. It goes deeper. There is a fundamental importance in the way we treat other people from every walk of life. And recently I was humbled and reminded about this. We have been going through some serious, I don't even want to call them growing pains, because we went through, almost the whole year of this pandemic with virtually no staffing effect on us at all as we've been growing and scaling. And about 6 to 8 weeks ago, like a domino effect, our remote employees and several of our in-person employees all got exposed in various places, somewhere out of state, to it. And all at the same time, I had 5 people out. 5. That is a huge hit to a company I just described to you as, that's close to a third of us. It really knocked us out. It took us out at the knees. And what happened? And the thing that surprised me the most was that I had lenders reaching out to me, lender executive, to say, hey, I heard that you're having a tough time. What can we do to help you? I'm their customer. And they called to say, what can we do to help you? Do you need us to rush a loan for you? Do you need us to help you with a lock extension? I know you're really short-handed. I'm sure that loans are sitting in your office, and that's not our fault, but it's not yours either. How can we help your customer? How can we help you give the service that we know that you want to give? Hugely humbling for me. And you know what it goes back to? It goes back to the way we treat each other. It goes back to this philosophy that we are all partners, whether we are each other's customers, whether I am, talking to the person helping me at the grocery store, or whether I'm talking to a CEO somewhere. We reap what we sow in life, and it comes back to you, good or bad. And it was a very humbling thing. So I would say at the core of it all, start each day by just treating other people with basic kindness and respect, because these are loans, guys. That's all they are. They're important, but they're not as important as our basic humanity and the way that we treat and respect each other. And then from a more practical standpoint, my advice would be, this is the Achilles heel of all newer loan officers and even some seasoned loan officers. And I will guarantee you that many people have fallen victim to this over the last year as business has been booming. And that is getting so buried in your active pipeline that you are not time blocking and doing the prospecting and business building activities every single solitary day to plant the seeds that you need to plant, so that in a couple of weeks, those seeds are sprouting and you have a steady stream going. This goes into the long game we talk about all the time. And if you're not doing those things, you're really selling yourself short. And so to those of you who are watching this and say, oh shoot, I really am not doing those things, don't even think about that. Just start right now. Even if it's 15 minutes of your day today, do something. Pick a business building and prospecting activity. Call 5 real estate agents. Say to yourself, today, before I leave my office, I'm going to call 5 real estate agents. Or if it's the East Coast and it's late right now, tomorrow, I am going to start my day, and before I do anything else, I'm going to make 5 phone calls for prospects. If you do those things every day, I promise you, you will see the results. The consistency is what pays off in the long run. That would be my best advice.
Yep. Honestly, people talk about sales conversations, and everyone thinks it's always going to come back to like very specific, very practical things. And Jamie, you just hit on a really great one at the end of our chat. But the constant theme and thread through this whole message is the people matter. In whatever regard you're talking about, to be successful in sales, to lead a sales team, to be a successful salesperson yourself, you have to remember that there is a person on the other end of the phone in every engagement that you have, whether it's with a customer, a partner, a rep in another office, other loan officers. Honestly, I mean, we see an exchange of referrals in our group and amongst the network of our members that's wild. It stretches across the country, and it all comes back to the respect, how people have invested in the community to give back and to make sure people feel secure and supported, but also just consistent engagement and making sure that you are, like you said, Jamie, it's a loan, right? It's a loan. Not the person is the most important part of the equation, not the transaction. Honestly, y'all, this has been so fun. I love chatting with both of you guys. Tom, thank you again for joining us. We'll have you back in WMN literally whenever you want to come back. You're welcome anytime.
Absolutely.
Jamie, thank you so much. You're one of the most influential members, not just in Brokerage or Better, but specifically within WMN, and one of the founding members of that summit. And we are forever grateful for your guidance and your leadership and the advice that you're willing to pass on and share with our community. So thank you as well for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, y'all, we will be back next Monday. Don't forget, we also have Broker Playbook at the end of the week on Friday, Sales Rally every Monday, Women's Growth Series every Monday night. There's so much good information talking about utilizing the community and the resources that are right there at your fingertips. There's a ton coming out. If you ever need help finding something, you can always drop it in the comments. We are happy to share links and tag you and make sure that you know exactly where things are located to best support your current business. If you have any questions to follow up for Jamie or Tom, drop them below. We'll pass them along. We'll do a follow-up if we need to make sure that everyone is getting as much advice as they can. And Jamie, we're going to take a look at that dashboard that you guys review so that we can share that with everyone as well to start to get some ideas on how to give that feedback and create that friendly competition within an office. All right, y'all, we will see you later. Have a good one.
Bye.